Among Us is a multiplayer social deduction game developed by Innersoft that takes place in 3 space-themed maps. The game relies upon a basic crime-solving system where there are 2 teams, the crewmates, which prepare the ship and eject the imposters, and the imposters, who kill the crewmates and sabotage the ship. The game has recently received a huge amount of publicity from numerous content creators in mid-2020 that has driven a huge spike of popularity since then. The game continues to be massively popular, so today, I'm going to review it. First, I'm going to give you an overview of Among Us. Then, I'll play the game and review the experience, and finally, I'll see if Among Us lives up to the hype with the GameTally. First, a little background. Among Us was developed by Innersoft, the same developer that made and popularized the famous Henry Stickmin series. According to developer Marcus Bromander, Among Us was inspired by the 1980s parlor game Mafia, which introduced the crime and mystery game genre. The game was released for mobile devices in June of 2018 and for computers in November of the same year with 1 map. At first, the game performed poorly, with an average of only 5,000 players, which was blamed by many on poor advertising. However, the programming team of just 5 stuck with the game continuously, putting out new updates every week, adding new features, and even 2 new maps in late 2019. All this dedication paid off, however, as in the summer of 2020, the game began receiving massive amounts of publicity from many content creators on Twitch and YouTube. This caused the game to suddenly snowball in popularity, seeing sudden exponential growth to a massive player base of 100 million players. The ongoing pandemic has frequently been cited as a reason for this sudden success, as it allowed people to socialize with each other while staying socially distanced. Since then, Among Us has added tons of new features to account for the massive popularity spike, such as a quick chat feature, increased anti-cheating safeguards, and even a 4th map, which is expected sometime in the future. Innersoft is also planning on expanding the reach of the game to console versions and has even cancelled the planned sequel, Among Us 2, to continue work on the original game. As of now, Among Us can be played on 3 maps. These maps are the Skeld, which takes place on a large spaceship, Polis, which takes place on a planetary base, and Mira HQ, a space station orbiting Earth. However, a new map taking place on a Henry Stickmin-themed airship is expected to be released soon. To start a game, you can join or create a lobby, where many settings such as speed, vision, and the number of tasks can be chosen. You can also customize your character, which represents a small astronaut, changing items such as hats, suits, and pets. To start the game, there has to be anywhere between 4 to 10 players. When the game is started, depending on the size of the room and its settings, 1 to 3 people are randomly chosen as imposters, while the rest become crewmates. The main objective of the crew is to fix the map, and they are each given a set of tasks, such as fixing the wiring, in order to win the game. The main goal of the imposters, however, is to kill the crewmates in order to win. The crewmates are given several tools in order to help them catch the imposter. These include security cameras, which can be used to catch the imposter in the act, and admin displays that anonymously track everyone and alert a viewer if a crewmate is killed in select areas. It should also be noted that certain tasks, such as the med scan, can prove a crewmate's innocence. There are also tools for the imposter to do the job. These include vents that allow imposters to enter or leave an area quickly to avoid being caught, and door sabotages, which can be used to trap or block a crewmate. Imposters can also use critical sabotages that will destroy the base if not fixed in time, allowing the imposters to win. If you are killed, you're no longer able to communicate with crewmates or imposters, although crewmate ghosts can still complete tasks, and imposter ghosts can still initiate sabotages. When a crewmate is killed by an imposter, the body can be reported, which automatically triggers an emergency meeting. Emergency meetings can also be manually called if a crewmate notices something suspicious. In the meeting, there is a discussion time, which can be used to provide an alibi, accuse someone, or defend yourself if you are accused. At the end of a meeting, you can either vote for someone or skip voting. If there is a majority vote for a person, that person is ejected, while if there is a skip or tie vote, the game continues. If the crewmates finish all their tasks or vote off all the imposters, they win. But if the imposters kill everyone or successfully sabotage the ship, they win. So, that's a general overview of Among Us. Now, on to the gaming experience. Overall, the game runs pretty well, especially on computers, which is admirable considering that Among Us only has 5 programmers, a far cry from big budget games such as Grand Theft Auto that have thousands. However, this vast discrepancy is also reflected in numerous areas of the game. Although the game overall runs smoothly, there will still are a few glitches and discrepancies in certain areas, and the game occasionally performs a little erratically, especially compared to the games with bigger budgets. Also, it should be noted that although Among Us is relatively hack-proof, it can easily be cheated by using external communication platforms such as Discord. So, that's my take on Among Us. It is one of the hottest games of 2020, and for good reason. It is a very exciting game for play, with tons of action and mystery involved, and although it isn't the best coded game around, it is still a very fun and rewarding game to play. So now that I've played Among Us, I can now see if it lives up to the hype with the GameTally. First up is the gameplay segment. Starting at the first category, content, Among Us has lots of action but not a lot of content or storyline really, so it gets a 3 out of 5. Next up with quality, Among Us runs relatively well overall, but has quite a bit of inconsistencies, so it gets a 3 out of 5. Third, with features, Among Us is pretty configurable, but doesn't have as much as some games and gets a 4 out of 5. Fourth, with design, Among Us has good controls, but is a little cumbersome in some areas, and it gets a 4 out of 5. Finally, with action, Among Us is very well-rounded in that area, and it gets a 5 out of 5. Next up is the community segment. Starting at the first category, fairness, Among Us does not do well. It is easily cheatable, but I have to give it credit for the safeguards it does provide, so it gets a 2 out of 5. Next up with character, every aspect of Among Us is very well known, so it gets a 5 out of 5. Third, with satisfaction, Among Us is rewarding to play unless you're in a server with a cheater, so it gets a 4 out of 5. Fourth, with audience, I recommend Among Us for all ages, even though the App Store says otherwise, so it gets a 5 out of 5. Finally, with value, Among Us is free to play and is relatively substantial, so it gets a 5 out of 5. This brings Among Us's total game tally to 41 out of 50. Here's how it compares against other games I've scored. Among Us does pretty well, beating out, ironically, Fortnite and GTA Online. However, it gets beaten out by more competitive games such as GTA 5 Story and Call of Duty Mobile. Overall, although Among Us may not completely live up to the hype in some areas, it is still a really good game I recommend.